Okay, great. So over here, it shows 82% of the daily ATR, which means that it's still within that range. This is what I'm assuming. Trading range, daily ATR to days. Yeah, 75%. Yeah, because I don't know the indicators specifically, I might not know all of them, but I think that this is still showing within the range here, right? I'm just checking what everyone else is saying. Okay. Yeah, so this is probably good, but obviously, since I'm not the person who created this, I am not gonna know as much about it. But we can see this got 75% percentage here, so it's showing. Let's see what this does. Oh, it's showing that row. Okay, so that's the percentage that we're looking at. 10%. Let me see what that shows. Oh, that's to understand the 10% of the daily ATR. And then that's the color dynamics of the day, created by Brock. I do the math in my head instead, and then just add 5%. Okay. Okay, awesome. Maybe I need to create an indicator for myself as well to make it a little bit better for myself to know. But I'm sure if you go to any of these classes and just ask him on that, that will be awesome to know exactly what is what over there. Okay. Let me keep going for the sake of getting the 5 trades in 30 minutes because I think it's going to take a little longer to do that. So I want to show you guys that. Can I do that? Okay. So, really quickly, end of day markups, right? End of day markups. How do I actually do that? Right? Yeah, I agree with Nicole on that. Let's not get overly lost in indicators. If you don't know, let me put it to you this way: if you don't know search strategy, you should not even be trying to get lost in indicators, right? Because remember, indicators is an odds and answer to the strategy. Does everybody understand that? If you don't got the strategy right, then you're just enhancing the losses. Can we fix that first? Right? Can we fix that? Okay. So quickly, end of day markups, because this is something you need to do on a daily basis to help you funny in announcing the losses. This is true, right? It's only going to indicate you in the wrong direction if you don't know what the actual correct thing is. Here's what I do. So I'm looking at the chart. This is before the market begins. Let's say, and this is not the real trades or anything here, right? I'm just going to rapidly fire through it so you get the idea. I'm coming to this chart. This is before the session starts. I come to it. I say to myself, okay, this is my demand curve. And I'm starting on the 1 hour here using the 1 hour as a curve today, right? Throwing it in the customary blue color. So I know that that's my demand curve. I go up and to the left to the nearest quality supply zone. None over here, nothing in there. Put on my horizontal line at the highest point just to help me look above those points. Go over and up until I find a nearest qualified supply zone. Remembering that I like to have a variance in the colors, right? So we go up and we look, rally, right? Drop or drop, base drop. I prefer the drop, base drop. So I go there and to my highest point, right? Because that's the leg out. So include the highest point is best practices. Move over the chart. And now, right now, I want you all to focus because I'm not trying to show you curve or anything. I'm just trying to show you what I do as an end of day markup. Okay. So now I've got my curve on. What I can also do is go to my 15-minute and I'll go and check my trend. Right. I might, when the curve is this far away, like this, I might screenshot a curve screenshot on its own. Here's a little icon here. Click it, download image, save that to my computer in a folder. Or I can click on that, copy the link, and then copy that into my trade journal, right? Or my trade tracker. Copy that link inside of there. You have to use this. You cannot copy this. This here is nothing, goes to nowhere. You must use this one here, camera icon, copy the link. Okay. I save that and name it as curve. Afterwards, I go to my 15-minute and I draw on my trend, right? Everybody tracking with me? I draw on my breakout segment. I write on my chart what I've seen. I've seen trend, and this is just the bare bones version, right? Trend is up. I'm low on curve. I do this on all markets, even if I didn't take a trade. all the markets I look at, right, 70? Because I'm trying to create muscle memory here. I'm not worried about taking a trade when I'm doing my end of day markups. I'm trying to see, what was I able to perceive the correct direction and all of those things. So then I go low on the curve. I'll maybe try that I got a breakout segment, whatever you so far understand. Now, for me personally, I'll have more things on because I understand a little bit more. But for you, whatever you understand until this point, this is at the beginning of the session, right? You have a before and after screenshot at the beginning. So this is at 8. Okay. Now that I have that on, I do a quick confirmation tick, which is check that this trend on a lower time frame is a rally-based rally on a higher time frame. Is it? Yes. Rally, base, rally. Okay. That's good. Now I type in perhaps trend confirmed. And please go beyond what I'm telling you here today, right? Confirmed. After I've done all of that, position it nicely on the chart like that, all my notes, and then I go ahead and screenshot and copy link or download image into a folder, right? Yes, I am on the replay because remember, everyone, what am I showing you now? This is because we were getting lost in the Globex stuff again. Focus. What am I showing you now is pre-session. So I had to replay today's price action to the pre-session, right? It's not, and here you can see when you see this icon, I'm on the replay, right? 8 a.m. Yes, before trading starts. You need a before market and an after market. Okay? So this is before market. So perhaps if I was trading here today, perhaps I go and I put my long position tool on there and I put my stop buffer there. And this is like the setup I have before market. I save it into a folder. Okay? Now, after that has happened, whether or not I took a trade on this chart or whatever, that's okay. I come back at the end of the day, right? Let's say this has happened now. I come back at the end of the day. This is what I see. Now, the day's not done yet. Let's just say more of the days actually happened, right? More of the days actually happened. I come back at the end of the day and I screenshot this. But now I investigate. I investigate what could possibly have gone wrong here, right? What do I say to myself? Okay, I might type in, it was stopped out, right? I would have been stopped out. But why? Why becomes the question. Why? Because I had an uptrend, I had a curve, I had all of those things. Why did I get stopped out? Right? Could it be that I'm in the wrong asset? Good question. So, Andrew, then I can go to my correlated asset and check, am I in the wrong asset? Let me check that quickly. What was that, by the way? MNQ. Let me go to MES, right? And let me see if MES held that area. So let me quickly, I have to unfortunately replay it back there now just to get MES to join the party, right? And let me see if MES held the same area. Okay, so MES held that area. So MES was a stronger asset, right? MES traded into there. So now I could say stronger asset, held the area. All of those things can come onto my notes over here. Guess what's going to happen? A week from now, I'm going to see a lot of that. A month from now, I'm going to see even more of that, right? Let's see actually if it did actually hold. Yep, look at that, right? With a proper stop buffer, if you were actually getting it like that, right? With your stop buffer on, that one went to TP. Maybe even YM went better. Let's see. Even better, right? Let's check what that same area is. Oh, YM's a demon, man. YM's going from nothing in the middle of nowhere. No, maybe M2K went better. Let's see. Oh, M2K is better, way better. Move it till here. M2K is a strong asset. There's your trade. There's your entry, goes up. Go here again with 2 charts on the thing. Copy link, save it. Why is this important? Every day you learn something, right? Every day you learn something. Okay? You save it, you screenshot it. Here's why this is important, and I hope you guys appreciate this. You can write down what you felt before the trade. You can write what you felt down after the trade. You can write your entry price. You can write your stop loss price. You can write your target price. But a week from now, none of that matters to you at all. You're not even going to understand what to do with that information. But with this, every day you screenshot and you review charts before and after, you start to learn patterns about yourself. Maybe I took all my trades low on the curve. Maybe I took all my trades high on the curve. Maybe the good trades that worked were in the high of the curve. Maybe the good trades at work had a better zone and trend. I see some patterns. I see some behavior. And then I can make assessments, right? Yeah, I'm not showing how to do stronger and weak assets here today, people. I can just visualize it from it, but that's a separate class on its own, right? We'll not be showing that here today, unfortunately. The focus is on showing you how to do your end of day markups, right? So copy the links, save that, and do your before and after every day. Can we do that? Right? There's just not enough time for me to cover all of that, everyone. I want to get you to what I promised you here today. But strong and weak assets on a separate class, very valuable. I won't trade without it, but you will have to look on those classes, right? I've covered that at least 5 or 6 times now in different classes. And it's recorded. Yes, I've done it over and over, and I will do it again in the future. You'll see it multiple times in the future, but today, this is the objective. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes. Does everybody understand that? Before and after, every day. There's a lot I could add here. I could say this trend zone looks bad. Why? Because I told you in the previous class. If the trend zone doesn't have a good zone, I'm not even taking an entry zone. Why? Because if the higher time frame looks weaker, then the lower time frame will be even weaker, right? This is way too much basing candles. Not going to work. Look at M2K, had 2 basing candles, and that's why it worked. So those are things you can also write down, okay? So remember that, right? As much as you can, all over on it. There's no reference card for correlated assets. That is a Chadwin specific type of information thing, right? Maybe I'll come up with one, Donald. I'll come up with one. But I think you definitely need to go to the classes to understand it. But I will come up with one for that. Okay, now 5 assets in under 30 minutes, and we literally only have like 40 minutes left. Okay, let me choose my 5 assets, right? Let's say I'm choosing, I'm gonna turn this off just so that I can choose the random ones here. Let me turn off all these colors, and then we'll go ahead and choose ones, right? Okay. Now you have to forgive the charts now because it's December and it's already moved crazy. So we're gonna get bad. This is how it moved today, right? But we're gonna do it in any case. Everybody with me, right? Follow now, focus. Stronger, weaker assets are out of your mind. Your only focus is this now, right? Focusing on this. The main reason we struggle to draw and get many charts, right, is because our focus becomes on making every chart perfect. And that takes a long time. Most times I find that when people are trying to do this, they end up spending so much time on one particular chart that they actually don't get to any of the other charts. And if they do, the others are rushed. But when we understand a basic framework like, number 1, we look for curve first, right? Number 2, trend second. And by the way, I'll do this again before these 3 lessons are over, right? This is not the 6-step process. This is just my speed process to get it all, right? Curve first, trend second, breakout segment, zone, before, zone, in, zone. Okay? Curve, trend, breakout segment, zone, in a zone. Okay? Everybody got that? So if ever you feel stuck, that you've been looking at one chart so long that you can't actually make sense of it, I'm going to break down the key components to how you can look at many charts faster and then give yourself more than enough time to review, right? And you tell me if this has been a light bulb moment for you once I show you. So let me look at the couple quickly. I'll choose MNQ. We'll choose MCL. We'll choose gold. We'll choose M6E. And I don't want to make all of it correlated assets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to choose, I'm not going to even, it doesn't have to be, you know what, let me rather just choose another Forex market as well. I'll choose, not Forex market, another futures market. Let me bring this one up. And I'm going to choose copper as well, right? Okay. Everybody with me? Now, there's no reason to choose 5. You can choose any 5. You can choose 10 for that matter. I'm just choosing random ones so that we can see it like live, Richard. So I didn't make any criteria, but you're going to see that what I'm about to do is going to give you criteria, right? I'm not looking at the high volume. Look, I trade the top 10 traded ones in any case. I got the high volume, high open interest in any case. So that's not even a concern for me. I'm purely just looking at selecting random ones and not all the same ones now at the moment for sake of explanation. So when you understand something that I taught you, that the strategy teaches, listen carefully, everyone, that it's curve first, right? Curve first. You don't go trend first. You go curve first, okay? And then you go trend. You make sure your trend has a breakout segment. And then when trading, search strategy says you must trade a zone that is equal to your trend time frame or lower, which means your trend time frame can also be your entry time frame. We're going to use that to our advantage. We're going to make that be our entry and our confirmation time frame at the same time, right? Follow along with me. Why it takes us long is because we try to do curve, trend, breakout segment, everything, all 6-step processes on one chart. But hear me out on this. The way to speed it up is to go through the process of elimination. What we instead should be doing is doing curve on all our assets in one go. You'll see now why I do this. So let's say, and please, I don't want us to get stuck up on, is that the perfect curve? Is that the perfect zone? I'm teaching you the process. The curve and those zones are in the other classes, right? I've already taught you that extensively. So let's start off with, I'm going to start from the bottom up. I'm going to start with MGH, right? Clear all of this. Now, I go on let's say my 1 hour is my curve here, right? Again, I'm just using any time frame. Let's say my 1 hour is my curve. I look at this and I go up and to the left to the nearest supply zone. And I draw that on, right? Then I go down and to the left to the nearest demand zone that has some quality to it. That's a drop. That's a base. That's a rally. This candle's large, but not larger than these 3 candles over here. So I can take this one over here. Okay. Now I've got my curve. What I want to do is, and what everybody does, right, is that we want to do the trend now, do the breakout, do all of that. No. Simply highlight this one now and change the color and say, okay, curve is done. And you can grade your curve, high to low. These 2 things you can do off each other. Simply then say to yourself, high on, follow along here, right? High on curve. So you know that that's high on the curve. Next thing, you go to the next one. Do the same thing. Look at the price, right? From current price, down into the left. Here is demand zone, there. Up into the right to the nearest supply zone. Don't get stuck up on the quality of the supply here. Just focus on what we're doing, right? Lastly, grade the curve so that you know where you are. Where's current price? It's going to be at middle of the curve. So we can just put M over there, right? Now go to the next one. We change that to green. Go to the next one. You'll see the method in the madness soon. Go to green. You say to yourself, okay, where am I? Current price, down into the left to the nearest demand zone. Here we go. Up into the right to the nearest supply zone. We go over there. Grade my curve from the highest point to the lowest point. Right? Where am I? Middle of the curve. Everybody tracking with me so far? Right? AW says, once I realized, thanks to Sharon, the importance of the curve, my trading got much better. Hey, I cannot tell you, it's exactly the same thing for me. Trading changed when I learned the curve. That's why I called Mr. Curve. Now we got the third one ready, right? Third one done. Let's go to the next one. Gold. Apply the same process. By the way, this was from the other live trading session. Said we were going to go all the way up from there. We are there. Gold, right? It's be a little difficult because we're at all-time highs, but down into the left to the nearest demand zone. Curve is always wick to wick. Up and to the right to the nearest supply zone. I'm glad this example's in here. No supply zone. We just simply go to the highest point on the market and we mark of that as a floating curve. It's not a real curve. It's just a floating curve. Supply is always what we sell from, right? From that point, create a wrong tool, create our curve. Ask ourselves, where are we? You're going to see the magic now, everyone. This one's high on the curve, right? But what do we see? No supply zone. Okay, let's move on. Last one. M and Q. Down and to the left to the nearest demand zone. There. Up and to the right to the nearest supply. Can't use this one. Leg in and leg out can't be the same size as the basing candles. Move further and higher and find nearest supply. Nearest supply exists over here. Create the curve. Now the magic begins. Right? From there to here. Where are we? Low on the curve. Okay. Now, that has taken 5 minutes. Right? We've set all our curves. The next thing in our process, right? I've never used that grade. It's not a. I'm just saying grade the curve, but it's basically breaking it into 3 sections. You can go ahead and just screenshot this. It's the Ganbox tool. Go ahead and screenshot that. This is my points in there. Once you got that, hey, there we go. NMAS. You're starting to see it. You're starting to see it. Watch what's going to happen now. You guys are going to love me for this one. It's going to shorten all your time. And it's going to tell you which assets to be in. And it's going to tell you where to spend your time looking for the day. It's going to solve all of that. When everybody's got this, give me an 8 in the chat. 0, 0.33, 0.66, 0.5, and 1. Okay. I'm going to take it as everyone's got that. Again, it's available in the replay. Now, listen carefully, right? Jack says 8 in the chat. Jack is following it literally. You put an 8 in the chat. Okay, now let's follow it. Now I want you to hear the logic behind it. Why did I grade all the curves instead of going curve, trend, breakout, segment, zone? That would have taken me 30 minutes on one chart. Why did I grade all the curves? Number one, I want to establish where am I on that curve. Remember the rules. We're supposed to try and trade from low in the curve or high in the curve. You're following along with me, right? You following along with me? Come on, NMAS. I have to know what your actual name is. Is that abbreviation or is your name that name? Because I feel like I'm doing like the Samuel L. Jackson thing when you say you can't say just Samuel. You say Samuel L. Jackson. You say the whole thing. Oh, Enma. Okay, you're Nigerian. Okay, no problem. Now I know. Right? So look at this. Now I've done all the curves. So now work with me logically through it. This one's low on the curve. That's good, right? I can look at something that's low on the curve because the rules state if something is low on the curve, I can look at it for buy. If something's high on the curve, I can look at it for a sell, right? Now, there is a bit of nuance, and I'll tell you that at the end. But right now, I'm going to say to myself, this asset is low on the curve. So I'm going to color that one for myself as a blue now. That's going to tell me I can look at this one as a possible trade. I go to my gold. Look what I see on my gold. On my gold, I'm high on the curve, but I don't have a supply zone. Okay, so how do I grade that to myself? I'm high on the curve. I don't have a supply zone. That means if I'm trying to sell because I'm high on the curve, remember, if you're high on the curve, you want to sell, but I don't have supply, I'm going to skip gold for today, right? No gold. Go to MCL. MCL is middle of the curve, right? I'm not low on the curve. I'm not high on the curve, but I can see I'm also not fully high there. So maybe MCL, I don't grade blue, but maybe I give it this light, and the colors you can change, right? I give it the light blue, right? Because I might come back to that. I go to M6E. I look at M6E. Again, middle of the curve, right? Not fully high on the curve, not fully low on the curve, but I'm not high on the curve either. So I come back to a possibility because I can trade middle of the curve, right? I go to MGH. What do I see? I'm high on the curve, right? And high on the curve, I can't sell. So I turn this into a blue. Now, watch. Just by doing those two things, I've eliminated one chart, right? I've eliminated clearly one chart, which is my MGC. I'm not even looking at that today. Okay, what's the next step in the process? I'm going to check the trend. Now, I'm not yet going back to these. I'm going to go to my blue ones first because those are my most important ones according to this. Watch this, everyone. Go to my blue one. Now, let me check the trend. Go to my 15-minute. Okay, what is this trend? On my 15-minute, I'm clearly in what type of trend, everyone? What type of trend am I in? You should know this by now. Bang, bang. Right? Yes, I'm in a terminated uptrend. I was going up. I terminated down over here, and I'm sitting there. If I go down again, that'll be a confirmed downtrend. Now, listen carefully, everyone. Do I want to trade buys in a terminated uptrend? Yes or no? No. So I type to myself here, terminated. You can type it all words, terminated uptrend, right? And then I change this away from that color now also to cyan away from that color now also to green because it's a terminated uptrend. Can't trade that trade. It's not available now for me to trade. Green. That one's eliminated. Now go to my next blue one because that was my next important one. I go check that trend. Let's check this trend on the 15-minute. What trend is this, everyone? What trend is this? Let me see in the chat. Downtrend, right? Downtrend. It's making lower lows and lower highs. Okay, I keep that blue, right? But what have I done now? In just 10 minutes, I've reduced 5 charts to only be looking at currently this blue one and possibly these two, right? Now I know that this trend is down, right? Not done yet. Know that this trend is down. I leave that on, okay? Go back to my MCL. Let's go and see what this trend is. Now we're not using my bump up trick now yet. I just want you to currently see what we are actually looking at, right? In terms of understanding what the market is doing. Okay, what is this? It's an uptrend, right? Okay, so it's an uptrend. So that one that was highlighted as cyan, possibly like that, now comes again as I'm taking it back to a blue potential because now I'm seeing that it's an uptrend and it's middle of the curve, and then I can still trade. I do the same with M6E, right? Check the trend. We're going to come to the same conclusion. Uptrend. Yes. Right? Watch what I'm doing. That makes this also back to blue because it's possible trade. Now, what comes off the trend, everybody? What's the next thing I should check? Now, I've reduced 5 charts to 3 charts, right? The next thing I need to look for is breakout segment. Start at MGH again. Do I have a breakout segment over here? Yes, I do. There, that's my last breakout segment, right? But I don't currently have 1 year, right? So no breakout segment, which means I change it to a color that I designate as waiting, orange. I have to wait for a breakout segment. Where do I put my alert? I go down here and I simply put an alert over here that tells me add an alert. Oh, sorry, what am I doing? Adding an order. Oops. All right. Why is it? Oh, I'm in the replay. Sorry, I can't add alert on the replay. But what I would do is I'd add, no, but I can take a replay of this current price, right? Leave. Yeah, I can take a replay off. Just give me a second. What do? I put an alert on here because I need a new breakout segment in order to take a trade. Now I know what to do. I also set an alert above the controlling swing high. If it breaks that, I know that this trend is no longer valid and I can change its color. So what am I doing? I'm waiting, right? I'm waiting. Do you look at one of your choices, maybe trend step back to good look at? No, follow along with me, Terry. I'm doing that now, right? I'm saying I need to wait for this trend to continue. So there's nothing I can do here because we don't have a breakout segment. The breakout segment was last year, but we already traded into it. So a new breakout segment needs to continue. So I change it to orange, tell me to wait. Go to this one, same thing. We need to break above this area here, right? To get a breakout segment. Remember, that's a rule for search strategy. Put an alert above that, put alert below, change that to waiting. Go to my MCL, same thing is true. We need to break above there. Uptrend, we need an uptrend breakout segment, right? What do? Set an alert above, set an alert below, right? If it goes lower, controlling swing low is broken, becomes a terminated trend or sideways market. If it goes higher, then it has a new breakout segment, turn that to waiting. Last thing I'll say is all these alerts, right? I name it. I'll click it, click on message, type MCL, no trade. If it goes down, no trade, right? On top, let it send me a message, MCL, get ready to trade in breakout segment. Okay. And I do the same across all of them. And here's what I'm done. I'm just waiting, doing nothing. Yes, it should be, technically it should be lower, right? And it should be here. But I'm putting it here because that's the closest point to which it will fail, as in the uptrend, right? So you're right, that is not the controlling swing low. Let me just say I'm putting it at the low. I'm so used to saying controlling swing low. I'm putting it at the low so that I know if it goes down, that is not continuation of my uptrend, right? Now, these are alerts, Caroline. So all these alerts do is send me an email, make a noise on my computer, and if I'm logged into TradingView on my phone, send me a pop-up message instantly to tell me that my charts has gotten ready. Now, here's what you guys should learn. It's been 15 minutes. We set up 5 charts, 5 curves, 5 trends, 5 breakout segments, and now we're ready and waiting until it actually alerts us to trade. I can go make coffee. I can go spend time with my son. There's nothing for me to do in between these 2 points. It must break out or it must break down. That's it. Right? That's it. If I looked at one chart on its own, I'd be nowhere now because I'd be looking at that chart, a breakout segment, waiting for this, trend, zone, all of that stuff in preparation. I'd go nowhere. Now I know all of you are not going to get it on this one call right now. Why? Because you need to know what a breakout segment is. You need to know how to draw your trends. You need to know the pump up trick. But here's the value. Wouldn't you also like to know that once you get all those components, you have a way to do all of this in 30 minutes, right? The last one is, yes, I'm coming to that one, Tony. I'm definitely coming to that one. The last one is, right, we need to wait. We need to wait for price to go up and break and then give us zone in a zone. So what is zone in a zone, right? Right? Can we also look at one to trade? Yes, now let's together assume, just for the sake of explanation, let's together assume that this MGH does fall out of here and creates a breakout segment, right? So we're all going to together believe that we've now seen a breakout segment drop out of that particular area. Okay. Now we got that candle. It's dropped out of that area. This alone is worth on every minute of the session. And all the other stuff is just gravy. Speak your mind, Robert. Speak your mind. Thank you. Now let's assume we got a breakout segment. Okay. Now our alert is triggered. It said to us, let me just type in the alert there. Alert is triggered, and this is why I believe in alerts as well, everybody, because you'll make up trades when you're watching this chart, right? So maybe sometimes I'll tell myself, place limit order for sell, make big money like Nicole, right? Spell the name wrong. Make money like Nicole. Oh, wait. Julie, right? MPA, massive bank account. It's a running joke for this class, right? Julie, make big money like Julie, right? Now, watch. I get the alert. It's time to make big money like Julie. What is zone in a zone? Zone in a zone is simple. I draw my zone on my 10 time frames first. Rally, pace, drop, right? Throw my zone there. Let me change this quickly. Okay. But before I actually place that trade, I want to make sure, I'm not drawing the zones of perfect, just roughly. I want to make sure that inside of this trend area zone, when I go down one time frame, that there's also an existing lower time frame zone. So perhaps I say drop, pace, drop. Those two time frames together give me the criteria of zone in a zone. Why? Because one time frame having a zone is powerful. Two time frames having a zone at the same spot is more powerful and allows you to avoid all the bad ones. All the criteria is met, I take the trade. What you're seeing here is a process of elimination. All the curves drawn on. If I find one where I can't see a clear curve, skip the curve. Jack, to your question that you sent via email on mentorship, if I don't find a curve on my 1 hour time frame, I then skip and check the 4 hour. And then I apply all the same rules on that chart, right? Now that I have zone in the zone over there, place the trade, boom, and get ready. Now, why is this a beneficial thing? Let me tell you why all of this is beneficial, right? Number one, this speeds up your ability to analyze a lot of charts. But what people are overlooking here doesn't only speed up your ability to analyze a lot of charts. The real big benefit is it gives you the ability to quickly compare all your charts, which ones are better based on the process of elimination, leaving you only to select the highest quality on any given day out of the charts you looked at. So all of a sudden, you now reduced we started off, let's say you start off with 10. You reduced your 10 to 3 charts. All the others are out of your mind. Currently, the way you trade now is you keep looking back at the others. Let me quickly check if there's something happening there. Let me quickly check how this chart looks. Am I right or am I wrong? So you go through it the entire time, boom, 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 looking, and then confusion enters and you don't know what you're doing. So what do? Process of elimination. You go down, right? Or you stay like a deer in headlights at the screen thinking, if I just pray hard enough, maybe the Lord will send the Holy Spirit to give me the actual direction, right? It's not going to work. This allows you to look at a lot of charts in a short space of time, but I have to stress to you, everyone, do not try to do curve, trend, breakout segment, all of that stuff on one chart. You've just gone back to the original process. Go curve on all of them. When you do this often, you're going to start to get a feel for on the curve time frame already. As you're looking at the curve, now I don't want to trade this one. This curve looks bad. Let me drop that one. Go to the next one. This trend looks bad. Drop. Don't even come back to it. Like honestly, when I was glancing through it, I already saw all of them don't have breakout segments. That would have been on this day for me. I would have gone and looked at other charts as well to see which one has breakout segments, right? I would have gotten ready on one of those charts. By the way, if you followed this entire process today, right, at the time that the market was actually open, which was here, here would have been your trade. Because guess what? You'd have been high on the curve with a downtrend, with a breakout segment. They would have been your trade. That's just an example. Curve first, then trend, then breakout segment, then zone in a zone. And then you'll be able to find all of that, right? And you again, you're able to. I missed some stuff in the chat. Let me just check. And missed one because I was looking at the other one exactly. At Thomas, not recommended. Need to pay for the live time for or use Forex free. Yes. So you have to pay for live data if you want to actually trade, even on demo. But yes, use the Forex feed, which has the live data if you just want to practice. We check the higher time frame fake trend and step 2 or step 3. Yeah, it'll jump around probably, right? What if there's not also a zone in the lower time frame? Julie, if there's not a zone in the lower time frame, me personally, I'm going to avoid it. Or if there is a good zone on the higher time frame, but no zone on the lower time frame, I'm going to avoid it because my entry time frame needed an entry time frame zone in any case. Remember, I'm only using the trend time frame as a support time frame. But here's the key, a bigger key than that. If my trend time frame has a bad zone, I am not even looking for a good zone on lower time frame, right? I'm not even looking at that. Now, can I ask you all, if you found this valuable today, to please drop a review again on Google if you haven't yet. And if not, if you have already done it on Google, then please can you instead, this one I really ask you all to do if you've already done something on Google, just go in the Facebook group and say you learned something today. There's someone, the one lower than you, the person who's missed this class, there's that type of person who needs to know to go back to that class. And you can tell them timestamp as well, right? Oh, awesome. Thomas is dropping songs as well. This should be, I promise you, this is the fastest way. Thank you, Brandy. This is the fastest way. I'll ask Nicole to drop in the Facebook link and the Google review, right? It should pop in there. I've learned several things today, as usual with these classes. Frank, my pleasure, right? So this is the fastest way. And by the way, this is how I come to live trading classes as well. I do a quick process of elimination across all the charts, right? And then I decide based on that, which is the ones I'm going to use for the session. And the beauty about doing it this way, it's such a low lift once you're done, practice it over and over, that you can literally just do it before the session, check across all of them, determine 2 or 3 assets that you want to trade for the day or look at for the day, set your alerts, and it slows you down drastically. Now, what you really want to do, everybody, is get into the habit of saying to yourself, if I looked at the others and I eliminated them from my list for these specific reasons, and maybe you keep a notebook next to you for when you're starting, don't go back to them for that session. Leave them alone. And I'm not talking about the ones that we looked at like here where we could say we're still waiting for the breakout segment, right? Those ones you can come back to. But the others, just leave them. Leave them alone completely for that whole day. It's going to serve you mentally well and you're going to get better at it. I promise you, right? Do you do this all 10 with the most volume? Yes, right? I wish there was a search strategy advanced class that you taught, Sharon. Everyone needs to hear this. That is essentially what Sharon Dunswilly teaches. Interactive, yes, I teach interactive practices as well, and I do that. I did once do a mastery class. There is where I first taught stronger and weaker assets. But I haven't had another one in a long time. And I promise you all, I know there's a lot of information, right? But you better have this in there and do this as a process for yourself. Can I give you a last cheat code on this, right? No, they wouldn't. There's no correlated asset classes in on demand. No, that's literally just me, right? I got tired of people saying I took the correct trade on this asset and I got stopped out, and then I looked at the other asset and it worked perfectly. While I sat around knowing exactly why that's happening, so I got frustrated and decided I'm going to teach you all to hear that so that you don't have to go through that same problem, right? One last cheat code. Who you guys are all on Zoom right now, right? Here's something I did when I started having the ability to record or do something on Zoom, right? When I started and I understood the concept, I quickly opened a Zoom screen or any recording program, and I went over the chart and spoke about what I've just learned. So in other words, I'd say, okay, Chadwin said, I'm going to draw up my charts like this. Let's do curve first. Here's my 5 assets. I'm starting my curve first. Do this, do this, do that, do that. Say the entire thing in my understanding, in my own voice, save it, put it on the computer, and name it something specific. Why? Because you'll be surprised listening back to yourself in your own understanding will just click it all back again. Your brain will say, oh, I remember how I got it when he explained it. Now it makes sense. I got it again. and you go back to it as a refresher every time, right? You'll be super surprised how much that helps. So Terry, I'm basically teaching mostly what is in on demand, but a lot of people miss it because it's if you see all the other classes before that, what did I do? Just show you what Kayla said. What did Kayla say? What did Kayla say? I'm showing all the things that are missing. The little extra like correlated asset classes, um, that is just because we on a live trading session and I know this one's gonna miss and that one's gonna hit, so I'm sharing that, right? The nuances on demand, I don't see that until the other teachers say something. And I go back, yeah. If you go back there, you'll see that it's there. All of the stuff I taught from the beginning of these sessions, you'll find that it's actually there, right? You'll find that it's there. Yes, this process of elimination and drawing up all the charts in the fast-paced time, that's not there. But this is not outside of the strategy. This is actually the strategy. Is just my personal view to show you all how to get it faster, right? Again, if it was based, would the alert be based on live data sending it immediately? No, if you're 10 minutes delayed, it will come 10 minutes delayed, Thomas. Right? Sorry, Gold is getting involved here again. I'm not Gold, Google. Hey, Google, stop. Okay, I need to disconnect Google. Google gets involved every day at the same time. Before you all go, give me 3 minutes quickly. All right. Not sure if I'm asking too much. Maybe we could see curve placed on other charts. Doesn't matter. Probably not the time. So let's see. That's every class so far that we've done curve on, right? I can go to random chart here, and this is not even a futures market, just a forex market, which is exactly the same as the GBP pound on the futures, as you can see. This is why I told you can see the live data it's the same chart. But here's your curve again. Last time drawing on curve, 1 hour, down into the left to the nearest demand, up into the right to the nearest supply. And okay, I don't know what I was drawing on here. Let me rather choose a different chart. Maybe I need to save that for later. And I have a tendency of just removing stuff that I need. Let me go to Bitcoin as a futures chart, but this is not Bitcoin futures, right? And then I want to just talk to you guys for 3 minutes and we'll call it a day. Down into the left, nearest demand. That's not a good zone. So up and to the left to the nearest quality supply. That's not good. That's not good. Wow. See, when that happens, then I'm going to say to myself, that's so far away. Let me change to a 4 hour and let me reinvestigate. Then I go down into the left to the nearest demand. That's got quality, right? Rally, pace, rally. But the problem here is these candles are too big in relation to the leg out. So I have to go here. And then up and to the left, the nearest supply. I go there. I could actually go there. And that's my curve for that. And then 1 hour would be my trend. We see that we are in an uptrend. Do we have a breakout segment? Yes. Is there an unfold order zone? Yeah. Yes. In the breakout segment, that will be the area I trade. Okay. Now, please drop a review on Facebook. I'd appreciate that. And in Google review as well. If you have, I know that as you guys said, you can only drop a review on Google once. So if you've already done that, I really appreciate that. Please drop my name in there. I'll come and like it as well. And then on Facebook as well, in the Facebook group, if you've learned something from this class, tag the class name, state who the instructor was, and say what you've learned so someone else can come back. If you can, even say towards the last hour, towards this and that. Before I go, I wondered about Google Ad My Review. Old one pops up. Okay, no problem. Facebook link. I'll ask Nicole to drop that in. Before I go, and we are over time, 3 minutes here. So if you have to go, I do understand. But I wanted to share something with you all. Maybe it'll be meaningful to someone. I know we are getting closer to Christmas, so I know that maybe some of you might not actually be on some sessions. But something interesting happened earlier today, and some of you might have heard the story already. But it triggered again in my mind because of what happened earlier today. My son came to my room, and I was getting dressed, and he noticed I didn't have my specs on. So he asked me, can he go and fetch my specs for me? And I said, yes, you can go and fetch my specs. And of course, he's 6 years old. He's hopping around, jumping around. And as he comes into the room where I am, he drops my specs on the ground. And I cringe for a moment because I'm thinking, did it break? And he says, I'm so sorry. I said, no, it's fine. It's fine. And I said, I didn't break. It's okay. And I take the specs and I put it on. But as I'm putting it on, I remember why I have specs in the first place. It's not just normal deterioration of my eyes. I actually have a rare eye disease that I discovered at the age of 31, right? I discovered a rare eye disease at the age of 31. Now, what was scary about this is on average, you're supposed to discover this in your teens, right? That is how you actually your actual, what do they call it? Your success rates on operations are better. So how I discovered is really shortly, myself and my wife, we went to go for an eye test. We both decided we needed specs. We can't read it well anymore. We need to go for an eye test. And she and I entered at the same time, right? Listen to this. We enter this place at the same time, large optometrist, and she gets assigned a person, I get assigned a person, and they come to me, and I should have known something was wrong because they come to me, they put me on the machine, they check in my eye, they start the eye test process, and the girl behind the machine says, "Sir, before we go further, just give me one moment. I think there's something wrong with the machine. I'm just going to get the other optometrist."